Hello, everyone. I'm Miriam Bale. I'm the artistic director of Indie Memphis, and it is my great pleasure to present to you not only the director of So Late, So Soon, Daniel Hymanson. Can you wave hello, Daniel? And the star of So Late, So Soon, the subject, Jackie Seiden. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Miriam.
Daniel, I want to ask you, how did you come to make this beautiful documentary? How did you come to make this film?
When Jackie taught these children's art classes on the weekends at the school, the Art Institute in Chicago. And when I was like 5 years old or something, my sister and I took those classes on the weekends. And they were just these really incredible art classes. And then we sort of stayed in contact. My family stayed in contact with her, and we would, every once in a while come to Jackie and Don's house, and we would have lunch, and I got introduced to her artwork and sort of the wider world of like Jackie Seiden. And then we just became friends. When I was in high school, we played music together. I'd come over here and we'd play music. And then it was sort of always like, when I wanted to make films, I sort of wanted to make a film about, she was just sort of someone I felt very lucky to know, and someone who I admired very much. And I always loved her artwork and sort of looked up to her and Don. And so I always sort of just wanted to make in high school, I made like a very short like documentary about her, so like when I wanted to make films, I wanted to make a film with her, about her. And so after I graduated from college, I sort of came back to Chicago, and we started working on the project together. And at that time, it was like a very different thing, and then evolved over the course of like almost 8 years. And we became, the three of us became like much closer friends over that period as well. But sort of that's how it happened.
How is Jackie? How is Daniel as an art student, as a 5-year-old?
3 years old.
3 years old.
His sister was in the class 2 years older than him. And there was his mom with the buggy. And there's this little 3-year-old guy in that buggy. And the look on his face, I forgot what I was doing in the classroom. There's this face that's so intense. I thought, what is that? Who is that? And that's how it remained the whole time. That was the core of the friendship. When he's involved in something like that, he's there, but he's totally available at the same time. And so that taught me, and it was that way forever after, like now even.
If when you were working together, when he was filming the documentary, if in some ways it felt like a collaboration, like your music almost.
Sure, it did. And I hate being photographed. So there was this heavy element of me being self-conscious and being pissed off that I was even doing it. But I'd be thinking about it in advance. And the second we were together, it would just be like a click. This needs to be done. This is being done. And it was a time in my life where I could use that exact friendship that I had with him.
Daniel, do you want to talk a little bit about where you thought it might go, or at this point, is it sort of a lost to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think like going into it, Jackie had been someone like a part of my life for like, as long as I could remember, but I also didn't like know her like that well, like we became much closer over the course of like filming together. And so I went into the project just like, I didn't have a super clear idea, but I wanted it to be like, I started just filming like lots of interviews with Jackie about like her art making process, and then also like her teaching and so that was mostly, I thought it was going to be that, like a lot, just like I hadn't watched a lot of documentaries, I think, at the time also. Like, I just didn't really know what I was doing. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a lot of like Jackie talking about her teaching. And then I was like working totally alone at that point. And we shot like together for like, maybe 6 or 7 months. And I had all these interviews. And then I edited together like a 60-minute thing that was just like totally, and then I showed people and it just sort of like didn't make any sense. And then I took a step back, and it also didn't show sort of what I found so special about being in this place with Jackie and Don. And so then I went back and sort of thought more about what I was doing, and sort of was more flexible in where the film could go and how I was making it.
Wow. And the access to the archival material that ended up being so important, did you go into it knowing that you'd have access to that, or did you discover that along the way?
I think like sort of early on, I just like knew that, I'm sure they had told me, or Jackie had told me, that like they had old 16 millimeter or like Super 8 stuff and some 16 millimeter and a ton of like VHS tapes and that they had shot, and like, yeah, short films they had made. And so I think from pretty early on, I sort of knew that was going to be in some way a part of it. And then like, it was so fun to like discover all that stuff. And then also just get to know Jackie and Don sort of at that, like at an earlier period in their lives, like listening to all these. Jackie carried around like a tape recorder for a while. And so there are you hear some of that. There's like one sequence in the film where like it's the audio from Jackie and Don talking. And like, there's so many of these tapes where there's just these very like long conversations between her and Don, and then other people in their lives. And so like, it was, yeah, so fun to just like listen to that stuff.
Wow. But had you seen all of that, Jackie, in a while, or did you just sort of make it and file it away? Was it a surprise to you to see it collected in the documentary this way and kind of
No,
see
I knew he was doing that.
Oh, okay. But I mean, was it interesting to see the past and the present interweaved that way?
That's a great question. I have to think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, let me think about it. I'll still answer.
Okay, we can go back to it.
A good question.
And then I also want to ask, since I can see it right there in back of Daniel, the house ended up being such a huge, almost a character, to not use a cliche, in the film. And and it's such an amazing space. It's so you were the production designer, Jackie, of the film, absolutely. And I want to ask about the color scheme, about the beautiful color scheme that we can see. Where did that inspiration come from?
I sort of got a crush on Miami Beach when I was young, and it had all those deco buildings, and there was a hotel, the Raleigh Hotel, all pink, and my colors. And I just fell in love with it. I didn't think about it consciously, but then I'd say, oh my God, this looks just like Edgewater Beach. And then also I wanted a nursery school feeling, the pastel colors, something soothing, because I had always been a psychological mess. So I thought this will make me feel calm and nice. And then the sparkle, because of my attachment to children, and the sparkle I knew would engage them. I love that. Yeah, that was he put sparkle in he paint a section and then sparkle.
There's sparkle in the wall of the house.
Of the wet
Yeah.
paint. Yeah.
So it's like glitter. There's sort of it's glitter.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm not sure if I quite got that.
It was beautiful.
I bet it was beautiful. And so let's talk a little bit more about that key that you just mentioned, the teaching that was so key to Daniel and that he thought would be more what the film was about before. What was it you wanted to teach when you were teaching art to kids? Was it painting creativity? What was it you wanted to impart to these kids who were taking art?
It was real easy to, I'm a behavior problem myself. So simultaneously, I think, or maybe a little later, I got invited into the school across the way to work with their the kids that had problems. And to me, they weren't problems. It was in the fault of the teaching. So that's what my partner and I had in mind when we started the class at the Art Institute. There had never been a preschool class. So that was the first one. We were sure that kids were brilliant artists for the most part, not all the time, and that we didn't have to teach as much of that as other things, what made it come out of them that way. And then we also were doing a brainy thing. We tied all these wonderful cultures in. It's commonplace now, but honestly, I think we started it because people who took our class after that kept it up. Go to all these societies, talking to tattoos that we have on our bodies today that everybody has. We go to the cultures that did themselves up in these amazing ways. Life and art, that's what it was about in your daily life. And I just wanted that concept across. I thought it would save a lot of kids that were having trouble in school, etc. And I think there were some kids at the Art Institute. Often parents do that, not for the art itself, but they just think it's giving the kids something that they're really going to enjoy. So that's what it was about. It wasn't ever painful. There was very little pain in it for them. And then just one other thing. I have this doll. I have it in the room over here. A baby, and she became a thing with them. And I said, every time you sock another kid or another person, they've got a baby inside them like you do. Would you want to swat your baby infant sister or brother or do you want to hit them or hurt them? And so that kind of made the special ed kids more comfortable. So I would have wanted some of that in the film. After I saw the film, I didn't want anything. It was so shocking and so out of the, like, oh yeah, oh my God. No idea what it was going to be.
We shot like a whole story about the doll, like, or about the character Gaga Gugu, who she was describing, that like, that's in the other room, which is like this incredible sort of like soft sculpture doll that Jackie made.
Should I go get her?
Yeah.
You keep talking and I'll go.
But there's this like really elaborate like story about Gaga Gugu, where Gaga Gugu like, and her parents and her pet pig, they want to go see the Aurora Borealis, and like more than anything in the world they want to see the Aurora Borealis, and so they all hitchhike there, and they're like so amazed by the lights in the sky that they're like swallowed by a crevasse in the earth, and then Gaga's parents throw her and Pig up to safety, and then Pig and Gaga like spend the rest of their lives staying 3 years old looking for their parents. And like that's the story that sort of structured the special ed class that Jackie taught for a number of years, was like that story, and the kids would get these letters from Gaga, Gugu, and Pig as they were sort of exploring the world looking for their parents. And this is the doll that the kid that was Gaga.
Thanks for that story, Danny. I love it. I can never hear it. Lady Gaga wasn't around yet at all. We used it as Gaga Gugu when I was a kid. That's what
we shot it with a pig, and we shot it with a little girl.
She's had a hard life looking for her parents.
She shot this whole thing?
She has dog tags from Vietnam. He's been everywhere. These are her hard luck feet. And she's queen of the battling butterfly brigade. So she has these tattoos.
That was
real butterfly wings.
And that's like new. Like that's like Jackie's art is like always like evolving. And like I know that doll like very well. Like I spent a lot of time seeing that doll, and like you added those butterfly wings like in the past 6 months or something. I don't know the butterfly wings.
No, they were always there.
Is that not true? What's that? No, not the big wings. I mean the wings on her legs.
Oh, I think they're pretty old though.
I didn't know her as well as I thought I did.
you are something else. Yeah, she did not have that.
I knew it. I knew that. Yeah.
She's incredible.
There's like grown men in the neighborhood where kids I have after school they come to the house and dance and throw stuff around. And they'll say to me, there'll be this like 35-year-old man, how's Gaga Goo Goo? She's fine. She's doing great. I never thought of them reaching 35 and I would still be there and she'd still be in the same form. It outlives us all.
So Gaga Goo Goo was you were teaching children about their inner child, but it sounds like much more too. Like it sounds like
it does. It was.
You
and then just being able to travel because she's looking for her parents. We had a perfect in to go around the world, whereas everybody, including me, I know nothing. We kept, oh yeah, Vietnam, So we just bring, it's stupid to say everybody wants to bring people in so they're not bored. But it's shocking. The school system doesn't have a real good fix on that. Makes me sad. There's a lot to be done.
Do you think it's especially hard for very creative children or children who are somehow?
Well, they're okay because they'll do it on their own anyway.
Oh, okay.
They'll think it out on their own.
Oh,
but the kids that know they're pissed off, but they don't really know why.
Oh, that's the hard. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. I want to. I feel like you should do a children's book about Gaga Goo Goo and the pig.
That's a good idea.
I really think you two could
collaborate. I'm bored with it already.
Are you? You said it, and now you moved on.
That was the problem with like what I went into the film wanting to make it about is like Jackie just wasn't really interested in. At that point, she had moved on. So like,
and boredom is the kiss of death. I think beautiful stuff came out of that, though. I love stuff that he did that he has no interest in. This thing that he knew, didn't even know he knew, that was pressing on him to move in that direction, and I didn't know.
Yeah, because the Gaga Goo Goo and the pig stuff isn't in that film, but that exists.
Yeah,
strange short film.
He has her own pig and all that stuff.
Oh, you were still teaching him to be an artist by your boredom and by pushing him to go beyond what he expected. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so cute. So I want to ask, we probably should wrap up pretty soon, even though I could listen to you two talk forever, but I want to ask a little bit more about this music, this band that you had. What kind of, I mean, it's in the, so you were in a sort of punk band together, or what was your band?
It was just, he brought his guitar over and I have the old upright piano.
Yeah, it was, we just played jazz together. I was like, I was a bad bass player, and I would come over.
You were a bad bass player. I was hopeless. 35 years of lessons with some of the best people in Chicago, and I just couldn't get it. I could dance, but I could not play.
Don had made all these pigs, like you see in the film, like he made the rhino, and he had made all these pigs that are around the house, and Jackie would leave a pig by the piano, and then she'd like leave $10 in the pig's mouth and pay me to like accompany her on the bass. So like I had like a job being her like bass player.
Oh, that's so cute.
And I think you were so advanced because I'm so unteachable and stupid.
She would definitely make me feel like I was very good at the bass when I was there. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think that's probably a good place to end. But is there anything else that you want to say? Is there anything else you want to say about Daniel, Jackie, or Daniel about this experience?
Just how much I love the film. I just think it's one of a kind and it's the best. And he has to go on and do film for the rest of his life. That's all I have to say. Thanks, Miriam.
Of course, and it's about to get a big distribution. So this audience in Memphis watching it. Oh my goodness, it's just a pleasure and delight, and I'm so glad more people are going to see it soon.
Yes, well, thank you very much for programming it.